It was
I
more
don't
like
know.
murder because that was like the big.
It's just
Well, do you know? Like, was
People
it
are
like?
afraid of murder in general.
Yeah, everyone's.
that
I mean,
was
everyone's afraid of murder.
no, that was
there's
that was a
no
heightened
time.
point back in the day. Like
I mean, I'm afraid of them now.
what's that big murderer
I
from
love
New
when he
York?
can't get his point across.
The sausage slap killer.
Welcome to Board with the Boys, the Halloween edition.
We are bored with the boys.
What was that, Venom?
We are bored with the boys.
One more time, Venom.
What are you gonna get? All right, I'll take it.
All right, we'll take it. Today, on the Halloween edition of the Board with the Boys podcast, we'll be talking about Halloween things.
Ooh, spooky noise. I don't know what has happened on the screen over there.
Yeah,
I can't really see.
Brian wasn't prepared for this. I'm putting my chicken down.
I'm gonna switch to Batman.
Brian can take your very thought out costume off.
I was pinching my nose down.
Yeah.
All right, the Halloween edition, Board with the Boys.
Oh my god!
Spooky season.
Oh,
Spookums, guys. Spooky season.
feels like I was coming out of a rhino's ass,
Something like that.
Yeah.
like an Ace Ventura.
Yeah.
Have you done
I
that
know what you're
before?
talking about.
That's probably the only thing that's ever happened in, so we get the reference.
Like, that happens on Common Occurrence.
Yeah. Oh, man.
All right.
All right.
All right.
Oh, here we go.
To kick off a Halloween episode, I thought it'd be interesting to talk a little bit about some of the horror classics. So it's the Freddys, the Michaels, the Jasons. So
Why are they all plurals?
the Jasons. This is
There's like multiple Freddys.
Yeah, I mean, it's stunt doubles and
Jasons.
there's like one of them's
Like
in hell.
Jason Momoa.
Jason Momoa, he's one of them now. Like you don't really have like those like cult classic like bad guy villains anymore, like those horror villains.
Yeah.
Like I feel like during that time they had all like the buildup of like Michael Myers, Jason, and Freddy and Hellraiser and some of those ones, but aside from like the continuation of those ones, like there is no more like big bad type of character like that from a horror standpoint. All horror is like paranormal or like religious, like demons and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Like I don't know, what do you think? Is it just that it was already played out back in the this guy's in the trash? Do you think?
I mean, it's carried on. Like those movies are still like being made. Well, I mean, not all of them, but like
Yeah, some of them.
they remake it. Like they bring those franchises are still kind of around.
Halloween's still good.
But yeah,
Yeah, and then they're still good. Obviously, like they still hold up. But like, do you think the reason we don't have like other ones is that it's already like that space is already being taken by like these kings of horror? And it's not
Did
even
you
that
say
they.
Chucky?
I mean, there's some like the Chuckies and stuff. But I guess he kind of counts.
I don't know if it's kind of that, but it's like I guess wasn't the mainstream, but like I'm sure they have plenty of movies that come out that are like slasher type films like that. They just don't like get popular. Like,
Yeah, but I feel like
Massacre.
some of those other ones they're not like character focused. Where like the Friday the 13th movies were like focused on Jason. It was like
Yeah.
a slasher, but it was like his character was the movie. It wasn't just like a story and then it was a slasher. It was like he was the slasher that was the story, and then some other random family or group of teenagers that gets like killed. So I feel like nowadays it's just the movies just aren't the same. They don't have the same like characters. I guess like that nun from like The Conjuring and stuff. She's kind of had like her path through some of those movies. No, it just feels like very different. Like those guys feel like they're just like they're gonna like live on, but we don't really have any like new age like horror baddies that you know, it's just
I feel
kind
like
of a
too,
weird
like
thing.
when those you kind of not all of them, but you kind of like not root for the killer in some of these ones, but like you like you said, you watch it for that person,
That guy,
for their movie. it's like, yeah.
Because you're never invested in like the people. You're invested in like it's like some group of like asshole teenagers or something like that. And then like
you know more about like the killer.
yeah, and Michael Myers is like coming up on all these idiots, and you're just waiting for each one to be killed. Versus like, oh, you know this nice family, and you're scared for them, and then like random slasher guy that you don't even know, you never really see. He's just like a shadow. It's just a very different like the perspective is shifted. But maybe it is more like now, like I said, I feel like there's a lot of like paranormal type stuff. What do you think, Christian? I know you're one of the bigger horror guys here.
Well, they mentioned one of the ones that they're trying to redo. Well, it's not redo, but like continue the series on was Candyman.
Yeah, I saw that there. Well, it's like the same guy that's gonna do it, right?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, it's pretty much the same guy's come back, but he's pretty much giving it to someone else. Like he's just passing it along to someone.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of feel like now that you said that, it reminds me like, do you think we're just past like the golden age of like movies? Because like everything's a remake now. Like you said, like they're still making Michael Myers, and of course they're gonna be good because new filmmaking is really good and effects and whatever. But like all the good ideas, I feel like we're like done and created, and now we're just reusing it. So you think that's just like not even that like we can't come up with a better horror villain. It's just that we're just in an age of like recycling things, and that's what it is. I don't know, because it's. If you think about it, like people our age that didn't even really grow up with it, like it was before our time. Like people our age are like obsessed with them, and it's like as the generations go on, I feel like they'll still be known as these people. And it's like, do they just ever get dethroned, or is it just no one has the creative idea to create somebody? They're not really that crazy of characters.
I don't know.
You know what I mean? Like,
and they're almost like the same thing.
Yeah,
like
at
besides
least
Freddy,
two of
he's
them,
a little different, but like.
But it's like Michael's just like he's like a deranged.
They're different enough, but.
Jason and Mike Myers are like the same.
They are, but they're not.
Well, their stories are a little different,
but the way, the way like.
Should we talk battles?
When you go like back like into their stories, it's a lot different. But like if you're just in like the middle of like if you just like jumped into the middle of either movie, you just have like a masked dude who's like walking, killing people.
He's like masked with a knife, walking slow.
Yeah, it's like a lot more than that, and like I'll say like they are a lot different. They're both good, but like.
If you watch the Friday the 13th, like I've seen them all in order. It goes like he does start off where he's just a guy just running around killing people. Then eventually he does die, comes back with supernatural powers that makes him invincible.
Yeah,
Jason
it is different, but
Jason took more of a crazy path. I feel like Michael, like he like dies in every movie and comes back, but they don't like ever touch on like he's in hell or like, he's in space, like. Yeah, they just like they don't know what happened.
He should have died, but he like doesn't.
Yeah, like he fell in this thing and they can't find him. Basically,
Jason X was like, oh
yeah, the space one.
Speaking of that, you guys didn't touch on Aliens or Predator. It's another.
But see, I don't even. I wouldn't consider that the same. I wouldn't put that in like a horror slasher film. Like it may be like suspenseful. I guess the originals were horror. But
I would say maybe in the first Aliens, but
yeah,
then after that they kind of like shifted away from like horror.
Oh man, my eyelashes are like getting wrecked.
My hair,
like bloodshot eye.
So itchy.
Look at this eye; it's like red.
Tim's started going white.
Well, yeah.
Dude, Brian's just been in the trash this whole time.
I got trash conjunctivitis.
What? I just put my headset back on as all as I heard is conjunctivitis.
What about Saw? Is that like horror?
Well, that's like an old.
It's like
so
it is.
I would say Saw is
more thriller.
I mean, it's definitely like a horror, gory, but I think Saw is a really good like series of movies because they all like kind of relate, and there's like a story that kind of goes with them. I mean, it's nothing crazy, but there is like a connecting element. So I wouldn't say that's like a big bad, but I would say like if you were to look at the Saw series as a whole, you'd say like that's a really good like horror series, but you wouldn't be like when you look at all the Michael Myers movies, you're not like, oh, that's a really great series, because they're all like okay movies, but you'd be like, oh, Michael Myers is like the guy. But you don't look at Saw and it's like, oh, Jigsaw, he's the best. You think like the movies are good, so it's kind of different versus the movie versus the person.
How about Hills Have Eyes?
I never
seen it.
I mean, I've seen it, but then it's the same thing. Like the villains are just random, like they're like
no name, like hillbilly, like
they're like hillbilly, like nuclear radiation, like tainted people. So you're not really attached to that one's more just like a movie to see people getting killed. You're not really attached to either side, like the family or the hills.
The hills.
I love the hills. It's like the best.
Don't take up that hill. I'm attached to it.
All right, Candyman. Like you guys didn't like consider him because that's pretty much the hack and
I never
slash.
seen.
It is,
Well,
but you
just
know,
kinda
but you know
forgot
what I
about
mean.
that
Like
one.
when you think of like horror, like legends, you know what I mean. You think of like the Michaels, the Jasons, the Freddys, you know, maybe Chucky
or
and Hellraiser.
Wishmaster. You heard of that?
Ooh, I heard of
Or-
it. It
It
sounds
sounds familiar,
familiar.
That's
but
the
I'm
one where
not-
if you
I'm not
if
sure.
if you do the 3 wishes and then you get killed.
What the fuck?
Sounds like
That's
a bad
super
deal.
stupid.
They made like 4 of them.
So it's
Or
like
like
the
5.
opposite from the genie in Aladdin.
Yeah, it's like he is a
It's
genie,
an
but he's
R-rated
like
version
a
of
demon.
Aladdin.
Yeah, no.
There's Hellraisers.
It's pretty much he's a genie, but like a bad version. Like you get the 3 wishes, but those 3 wishes come with consequences.
He's in a genie in a bottle, baby.
So do you think it's
That
like?
sounds terrible.
I feel like horror movies have taken a change and gone like one of 2 directions. They've either gotten super gory, because like back in the day they had like some gore, but they couldn't really achieve it to like today's standards. They either have like crazy gore in movies nowadays, or they go like jump scare, like paranormal activity style stuff. You know what I mean? You don't really have just like the straight like filmed movie. Yeah, it doesn't look familiar.
Yeah, that's not gonna.
That doesn't help. But like Michael Myers that was just a movie. Like not really jump scares per se. It was just like a
What the hell's that thing?
it looks
Yeah,
like
I've never
just a
seen that.
demon.
And there's Leprechaun. That's another
Oh,
one.
I know. Yeah,
Leprechaun.
Yeah. Those were like funny.
Yeah.
Like, they
That's
weren't
what I
even,
mean. Now we're
horror.
just naming,
It was,
like,
a
random,
weird
like,
like.
Movies
the
in that
movies were,
category.
like, so bad back
I'm
then.
thinking
Like, it's funny.
I'm thinking about the like continuation ones, the one that kept going and going. You know,
Well, yeah,
those
but
type of
that's
ones. I don't know why they keep going. Like Chucky, like honestly, like they get up to like I looked it up and actually it was like Cult of Chucky was the last one, and then the
Yeah,
reboot of it.
Yeah.
Stop watching that.
I mean they do those ones because they have like a following and they know they'll make money from it. But it's like the paranormal activities and like the new age like horror movies like the Annabelle, the Conjuring is like
Sis.
yeah.
There's
Exorcist,
this-
no, Exorcist is super old.
There's this one movie I saw called Legion. I don't know if you guys have ever seen it.
On Netflix?
Is that
I
the
don't
one when
know.
they're in a gas station and then
The crazy old lady.
Yeah,
turns into
yeah.
a Demon.
Oh.
She's
fucking
crawling on
spider,
the roof.
I never
crawling
seen
on
that.
the walls. That thing's nuts.
Yeah, that was a good movie.
It's so unsuspecting. The lady's just like super nice, super old.
She's just like
And then she starts getting real bitchy. And then all of a sudden,
she's like a demon.
all of a sudden somebody says something back at her because she's being a bitch. And she just turns into some crazy super demon spider, and like her head does like a 360 and she's climbing up the walls
Yeah.
and she murders people. It's insane.
so. Do you guys know a little bit about some of the directors and whatnot, like Wes Craven,
Not really.
Not really.
John Carpenter?
Bob
He
the
did-
Builder.
I mean, John Carpenter, like the original Michael Myers and those guys.
I'm trying to think of the other one.
I think Brian had it.
Yeah, Bob the Builder.
Yeah, Brian just said it.
But so like, are the movies now like they're making them
Use
to
Cameron.
to try to? Is that like the only way that people will be scared? Like I feel like back when Jason and those movies came out, like people were scared of those movies.
Well, like we
Where
just have,
now
like,
it's just you watch those and you're like, this is hilarious. But it's like,
well, because we're desensitized. Like we've seen everything, we know everything, and plus, like the real world too has gotten arguably
Way
worse
crazier.
as well. So we're just probably just desensitized.
That's
to
the
some
thing,
extent
like,
as well.
I was actually talking to one of my coworkers about like horror movies because she was gonna go back and watch some movies back in the day, like The Mimic, and I forget the other one. The Thing was a classic,
Yeah.
and we were talking about how the older movies were more of a spookier setting, and like they use real life prosthetics and whatnot to make it
Yeah.
real. And then
They
now,
actually chopped people's lice off.
yeah, like it felt
Yeah.
real. It looked real. Now it's like CGI. Oh, look at that fake arm just flying like this.
Yeah, but you can't tell. You know it's CGI, but it looks real.
Yeah.
But I get what you're saying. But I feel like too a lot of the older movies, like partly like what was scary was I don't know if they did it on purpose, if it was like a creative thing or if it was like budget and technology driven, but like part of the scariness was like left to the watcher's imagination. Like you would not all the time you would see what happened or see the creature or the killer or whatever, and it was like you said it was like a more spooky or darker setting. Like I don't know if that was a mix of like a directive decision or just like a prop, just like we didn't have the technology for it. But like part of that also made it scary. Where now, like you said, everything's just so gory. It just like shows everything. And it's just like, I don't know.
But you
It's a
can look at
different
it like
idea.
I can admit that they did an amazing job on it.
Oh, I like those. But yeah.
Yeah,
Actually,
like-
I didn't see the new one yet.
Yeah, I was looking to see the second one.
It's intense.
I haven't seen
I
it.
really liked the remake one.
Yeah, the first
last
one was
there. It
pretty cool. I liked it.
I liked it a lot.
No,
But yeah, but like
it
if you
was
compare
actually-
that one, the new one, to the old one, the old one
Oh,
is
yeah.
like has creepy elements because of what it is, but it's like I don't know, no offense to like the original actor in the movie, but it wasn't as like creepy. But, like back
Yeah.
then, if you would watch it, like wow, this is super creepy, and it's like what makes a new one creepier? Is it just like better cinematography? Is it better acting, or is it like you know Christian said, it's just like better CGI? So it looks like, oh shit, this guy he ate this kid's arm. You know what I mean? Or like in the old one, it doesn't really like show it.
Yeah,
like
that was insane. Like they actually showed Georgie getting his arm ripped. I was like,
Yeah.
I've never seen any kid violence in my life, and
I
that was
know,
the
the
first one I ever
kids-
seen.
I mean,
That's
they
a big
kind
fan
of
of kids
show
in
it, but they don't
movies.
really like. It's not.
Well, they show him like ripping his arm off.
That's true.
Like they literally show
Yeah.
him ripping his arm off.
He's like,
So
I don't think
do
he was
you-
farting.
I guess it's like an
That's a little
impossible
weird.
question, but I'll say, do you think like movies now would like be a hit back then? But I guess
No.
it's hard because they.
I
Like,
say no just because when my grandfather was still alive and lived with us, and any movie would come on that was not even necessarily horror, but like anything new, he would just immediately like, this is stupid. He's like, this doesn't make any sense. What is this? Like like that generation just like didn't want anything
Yeah.
to do with that.
Well, the thing
like, I
is,
don't,
like-
so I feel like it would not.
the thing
It
is,
is-
the
it-
movies like those, they weren't that old. For me, old is Dracula, freaking vampires, Dracula, like Frankenstein,
yeah, I mean, I'm not talking like the 30s or like
mummies.
Christian.
like
The
the original Halloween came out in like early 80s or something like that. It was like 1979 or 1980 or something like that. So it was a long time ago, but it's not like black and white film where, yeah, I mean, I guess some of those could be scary back in the day because you just, back then, like Tim was saying, there is no, your imagination has only seen what you've seen so far, where nowadays it's like we've seen so much. With the internet and movies and streaming, we've all seen everything. So it's like for us to be scared, they have to super like push the limit of like crazy or jump scare or just this really specific scenarios. But it's like back in the day with like, you know, Michael Myers, like, yeah, there was like crime and murderers and stuff back then, but you didn't have like this essence of like this crazy guy who couldn't die. Like that was like new. Where
Mm.
now it's like we've seen that so
Yeah.
often, but it's like this is the one who like kind of started the trend. So I guess that's kind of why they like live on, because they kind of like invented that group where now it's like nobody idolizes like the ghost from some random movie that scares you, like that jumps up and scares you, because it's just like
Right.
it's a jump scare. You know what I mean? It's not.
Yeah.
I feel like they have to
So-
make movies that way.
Another kind of same Halloween theme. You kind of said it already, Scott. What about Ghost Paranormal?
Yeah, I
What
feel
do
like
you guys think?
that's huge. Or I mean, I don't know about now, but like when
Before it
paranormal
was, it was a
stu-
big hit.
when paranormal started coming out, the first one, like ghosts are really kind of taking that bigger hit. I mean, I guess that movie's like ghosts, right? Is it ghosts or is it like possessions?
What, Paranormal Activity?
Yeah, it's
Or-
like both, right?
I was just saying.
It
I
was
wasn't
like
even
a
saying the
ghost.
movie. I was just saying like in general, like
Supernatural.
just ghosts, dude.
Yeah,
just like
general-
have
No,
you
it
like
was-
talked
dude,
to
it was-
ghosts recently?
fucking spirit ghost kind of shit.
Hanging
Like
out.
I don't know what it is. Like we have a certain period of timelines where like we're big on like Supernatural, and then like Ghost Hunters comes out, and then
Yeah,
all
yeah.
these big hit movies like Exorcist gets
Ghostbusters.
remastered.
Ghostbusters.
Ghostbusters.
Ghostbusters. Well, that was back then, but those are original classics. But
Oh yeah, that's not horror.
No, yeah, we definitely
Um,
go through trends, but like that's a good question. Like back in the 80s, like when Michael Myers was around, was like were
Or
people afraid
slasher.
of ghosts? Was that a thing? You know what I mean? I don't even know.
That's
That's like
it
that's
was,
a good
it was
question.
more. It was
I don't
more like
know.
murder because that was like the big.
just
Well, do you
Uh,
know? Like, was
People
it
are
like?
afraid of murder in general.
Yeah, everyone.
that
I
was-
mean, everyone's afraid of murder. That's-
no, that was
there's
that was
no
a heightened
time.
point back in the day. Like
I mean, I'm afraid of them now.
what's that big murderer
I
from
love
New
when he
York?
can't get his point across.
The sausage slap killer.
Guy from New York that he's like believed that
The hash
a
slinging
dog-
slasher. No.
Did you just say he believed he was a dog?
Sammy. Dude.
I don't know what you're talking
Well,
about.
there's
No,
like,
no,
you-
no.
You mean
no,
just like
there's-
notorious
there was a
like
killer in New
serial
York that he
killers?
kept running around and
Like
like,
the
killing
Zodiac
people
killer
like
and, like-
randomly, and then like when they caught him, they said who's like, oh yeah, this dog was telling me what to do.
Well, I mean, I mean, nowadays there's a ton of like super psycho people, but yeah, like back to like Brian's like ghost type question, like,
Yeah.
when did that become like the new scary thing? Because they didn't, thinking back, like they didn't really have like ghost type paranormal ish movies back then, right? They had like the slashers and like the big scary like killers.
What's that one?
I mean, maybe they did. I don't know.
Actually, what's that one with the girl was on the TV? Poltergeist. That was one of them.
Yeah,
That's true. Yeah, those. I mean, those are like more like possession, like religious style. Because religion, not to touch on religion, but like I feel like religion was bigger, you know, further back than it is now, as far as like the diversity it is now. So maybe the the possession thing was more crazy then. But I feel like that's actually like a big thing now. With like the whole Conjuring, all of that stuff is like religion related to some degree. You know what I mean? Even though it's like ghosts and demons, it's like the two people are like a priest or whatever. So I feel like this religion still plays a huge part in like a huge chunk of horror that relates to like possessions and demons and whatnot.
I think. He's like, this is Johnny.
We talk about like, you know,
The Shining
ghosts. What about Casper, friendly ghosts? I mean, he's friendly.
He was a friendly ghost, but he
That's
was
funny. We just showed Landon that the other day.
Oh yeah.
And it's rated like PG, and it's just so far from PG than what you would consider PG nowadays. Like at the end of the movie, one of the guys is like, "Go die, you bitch."
Whoa.
And we're like, whoa. So I mean, the movie was good, and like as I was watching it, I was still like, man, how did they like do half of this movie?
I felt like I watched
now he's
it
running
as a
around
kid all
saying,
the time.
bitch all the time.
I feel like I've seen that movie like as a kid all the time, and I don't remember that at all.
No, yeah, and they're like, don't piss me off and stuff like that, and I was like, damn,
What's
like
the one that it's like fucking scary Santa Claus?
Krampus,
Is it?
Krampus?
Yeah, it might be that.
That movie was kind of
I
a
like that
letdown.
movie. I liked it.
It was good, but like at the very end, you see him, and it was like, he was like a goat or something, wasn't he? He wasn't even like a weird demon. He was like an animal.
It was like, well, no, his body, like his legs are,
yeah,
but his top half is like human. Is like a decayed Santa.
Yeah,
but like his bottom half, yeah,
I guess
like
it was good.
Because it's like a devil-y kind of like thing for some reason. Like the devil's half goat.
So what do you think for Halloween themed movies? Like
what
do you?
Oh, what's the one?
Like I know Hocus
the
Pocus
skeleton,
was considered.
the skeleton dude there.
Nightmare Before Christmas.
Yeah, he's in the suit.
Nightmare Before Christmas.
Jack Skellington.
That one, yeah, I think.
You just said it.
Nightmare Before Christmas.
That's a good one.
Me and Tim just watched a pretty good Halloween one called Who Be Halloween.
I liked it
on Netflix.
I liked that
It was
movie.
actually like really funny. It was like just a good.
Oh, that's the one with Adam Sandler.
Yeah.
I gotta watch that.
Yeah, you should
It's like
watch
a
it.
typical like really like spoofy like kind of stupid joke, but it's funny. Like if you just like laugh, like it's good. I enjoyed it.
I had a lot of like appearances.
Oh yeah, it was like 20 like
tons of
it's a
people.
typical Adam Sandler appearances, but like it's just like a lighthearted, easy to watch movie. Like nothing, no crazy story, no like no whatever. But it was just like a good movie, and it was like made you laugh a couple times. Like I feel like those types of Halloween movies are rare. Though everyone tries to be like super scary or too stupid, but like this was kind of like a right in the middle. Like wasn't scary, but it was like stupid enough that it was still funny.
Yeah. Do you guys remember Halloween Town?
Yeah.
Never seen it.
Seen it.
Oh, there's Halloween Town. Wow.
Classic.
Halloween Town 1, 2, Halloween Town.
The first one before they changed the girl in it.
Yeah, Michelle loves those movies.
The one thing I always watch around the Halloween time, Goosebumps or like Jeepers. Jeepers Creepers is another one.
Jeepers Creepers.
I feel like I feel like he could have been bigger.
Yeah.
Like
I mean, they had a couple movies, but
only the first one like really does him justice. Like the second one was kind of dumpy, but the first one was like
High School Kids.
Yeah, the first one was like, I liked it a lot. Like he was a good like villain, like a crazy demon dude, like slept for so long, and it was just like a giant wings. Like he was badass. I wouldn't call that scary. Like I wouldn't call that a horror movie. I wouldn't even call it like a thriller. It's just
I don't know.
maybe a thriller,
Probably
but
horror. I've probably seen a little more horror.
You guys seen Tales of the Crypt?
a long time ago.
I think like no, they used to have a lot of Halloween themes around this time, and they always show either that Beyond the Belief, Fact or Fiction, Scariest Places on Earth. I used to watch that all the time.
I used to love watching
Yeah.
like those like ghost like shows and like like the Fact or Fate. That's a little different Fact or Fate because it's more than like the Paranormal Files or whatever. Just like all the ghost hunter things.
Yeah.
I
The
used
one
to
with that
watch them
fucking buff dude and
much.
he had spiky hair.
Yeah.
I never watched that one as much.
That
But the one
was
with the
like
bald
Ghost
dude,
Hunters or Ghost Adventures.
yeah,
I think, right?
that was it goes yeah. There's one that had like a bald dude and then like a little shorter.
Yeah,
dude,
Ghost
like,
Hunters.
shorter. I
One
think that
of
was
them, but
Ghost
yeah,
Hunters.
yeah. Those shows used to be like so
oh
like.
my god, I used to watch them all
Quick,
the time. And, like
Go
you
down the
never
hall,
saw
make a
anything.
scary ghost noise, and then we'll
You
record it
never-
on the camera.
Yeah, you never ever. I've seen so many of those episodes, and it's like
It's
nothing.
nothing.
Nothing
You
ever
never get
happens.
closure, and then you still come back.
Like, I know.
But
It's
then,
like,
like,
oh, an orb.
I don't know,
It's just
after
like
a while, it's like-
dust particle.
Like that show,
It's like-
yeah. It's like until you get to the point where you're like, oh, this show's kind of fake. Because I've seen one where he's like walking, all of a sudden he turns around and he like lifts his shirt and he's got like a claw mark and he's like,
Yeah.
come back, do it again. And I'm like, what's happening here?
Yeah,
Like,
that's the one with the spiky hair dude. He like yells at him.
All right, I'll give you two movies I just thought of right now. Another one was a big hit back then was Blair Witch. That was pretty creepy. First time it came
the
out.
first Blair Witch when it came out was spooky as shit because that was like
Well,
one of the beginning like handheld that gave you that
Yeah.
realism and like Tim was saying like before where you have that like speculation because you never actually see them like the witches. Even at the end you see
It
like
is
their
trippy.
feet. It's just you're living in the fear of the person recording themselves. So like yeah, when that first came out, it was really cool. I
I
wasn't
think-
scared, but it was creepy.
like a lot of people thought it was like actual found
Yeah, they
footage
thought it
of
was
too.
real found footage.
Yeah,
And like and it got a lot of hype too because the way it was filmed was like very shaky and people were like
It's
getting
real.
like sick watching it because it was like
Ugh.
very
Yeah.
like motion
They're saying it's
sickness
so
and then
scary.
people
Alright.
and then people
Well,
like, oh my god, it's so scary, people throwing up like
Alright.
Just fucking
like-
dizzy.
of that
Yeah.
subject because this happened on
That's a good movie.
another movie I'm going to mention was Paranormal Activity, the first one.
Yeah.
Because
The
they
first one was
actually
just with
had
the,
people-
the guy and the girlfriend, right, in the house.
Yeah.
yeah, it was just like recordings of like
Yeah, so
Yeah.
like that creeped me out
around
too
the
because
house or
they
something.
make it seem real. That's the part. The movie's
Yeah.
not creepy until like they give it that realism factor. And you're like, oh, it's not that creepy. And like she's standing there, like, oh, whatever. And then like they show her she's standing there for like 3 hours. I'm like, oh shit, like if that's real, that's super creepy. Like who's gonna even do that in real life? Never mind for a movie. So like when they add that realism to it, then it's like, oh shit, like that's weird and that's creepy.
But I remember like seeing the news like, oh, this person threw up all over and pretend that she was like a demon's possessing him or something like that.
It's just
You ever seen that for when that first came
Freaking
out? Like,
weirdos.
oh, we gotta definitely watch this because all
no.
this.
There's
happens.
always
People-
like people that over like exert themselves into something and then they like make themselves believe and all this other nonsense. Like you know, no one just watches it to watch it. They're gonna go and like immerse themselves into this and pretend they're ghosts and stuff too. I don't know.
pretend they're a ghost. They're just
Didn't,
walking around.
Didn't they make recently, within the past like 5 years, a Red Riding Hood like horror movie, where like the big bad wolf's like a killer and he's trying to chase her down? And
It
all
sounds like vaguely familiar.
It sounds
but
familiar, but I can't think of like a direct one like
that. I
that.
thought they did.
I didn't see
That-
it.
that's
It
kinda like
it
a cool
sounds
twist.
familiar.
Cool twist on like a little, I don't know, fairy tale. I guess.
Yeah, they do that. They do that on various stuff.
Well, I guess for like Halloween shows, no one mentioned it. So, have you guys watched like The Haunting of Hill House? I know Tim's watched it, but Christian or Brian,
Nope.
did you see that?
I don't know. I to
That was a
me honestly it
good
wasn't
show.
like I know you guys like it, but I
It was very
honestly
good.
when I try watching it and I can't.
So
That's
yeah,
so
it's
good.
not like it's not a jump into a quick show like that. You have to watch it. But what was interesting about the show is the way that they do it, where it's like every episode is like from a different point of view.
Mhm.
So like as a whole, the show is not scary or creepy at all. But how they do it per view, each person's point of view that they like tell the story from is always missing a piece of information. And
Slightly different.
the missing piece that person has is the creepy part because they don't like there's a piece that like they don't know and then you fill it in and it's like really creepy. Like there's one scene like you see really early in the show where like some lady's walking all crazy and you're like, holy crap, that's so scary. Like you have no idea. And
Yeah.
then like 10 episodes later you see it from her point of view and it's like, oh, like it's super normal. It's just
Yeah,
like
why it happened.
yeah, you see why it happened. It's just the way they did the show was like I thought it was like really
it's
smart.
really good. Yeah, it was very very
Yeah,
good. It's
I
like-
didn't know the girl died and then like
Redneck lady.
because
Spoilers.
no
Well, it's been out for a while.
Yeah, it's been out for like
yeah.
spoiler.
over
No.
a year.
it was the one of the family members she died, she fell off
Yeah.
the thing,
Yeah,
like hung herself or something like
Yeah.
Yeah, the bent neck
Yeah,
lady.
they call it bent
That's
neck lady.
the
So,
sister.
Oh, yeah,
I
that's-
wanted to
oh,
talk about this actually in another video, but
Yeah,
I
right.
can introduce this topic now.
Do it.
But it's a little different. But I mean, I
It's
guess
alright.
it kind
We're
of
rolling
is
with
a
it.
segue.
We're rolling with it.
It's a little weird. It's not Halloween related, but that
It's all good.
movie, I thought it was really, really crazy and like cool to think about is how they play with like the concept of time in that show. As like there's no past, there's no present, there's no future. Time is just like all happening at one like time at once. Because like she killed herself, like or well she died, but as a child she saw herself when she was already dead. So it was like this like actually like time was just like happening all at once. So it was like
Yeah.
a very cool like play of like
Yeah,
time.
like she's
is
the
so
one
weird.
who caused her child self to be so scared
Yeah.
and crazy. But then because she
Yes.
did that and she got so scared and crazy, she kills herself. And when she kills herself,
Yeah.
that's what causes it. So it's like some
she
fucking
becomes it's
some loop.
yeah.
She becomes the person that
Loop.
kills herself. It's like super weird.
it's so weird. Yeah, like the
Yeah.
how they do like the time.
Yeah,
and just
like yeah, the
Speaking
show,
of-
the show overall. Not to cut you off, but the show overall, like, yeah, it's good, and like there's some random dialogue and stuff. But like Tim said, it's just the way that they did it in the storytelling. I thought I like that. Like you know,
Oh yeah, it was very good.
that was really cool. And part two, like, or not part two, but like the next iteration of that series just came out like this week. The Haunting of Bly Manor on Netflix, but I haven't seen that yet. So it looks if it's like the first season, I think it'll be cool.
and there's like
Well-
100 hidden ghosts in that show. You
Yeah.
can, like watch, go find them all out.
Yeah, we watched like a
Another,
YouTube video.
Another popular show that a lot of people have seen, and we've all seen it up to a certain point. It's not necessarily horror, but The Walking Dead. I mean, it's kind of got that dark like theme to it, you know.
Yeah, The Walking
very-
Dead
very
definitely has like
gory.
some spooky elements to it. Like when they're
The
trapped.
newer season, season 10, with like the Whisperers and all that. It's definitely
Yeah.
more horror
or
ish now.
based, yeah.
Yeah, I kind of like it. I'm back into it.
Yeah, I'm behind on that one.
It's very very
What,
nice.
what are you gonna say, Christian? You gonna say something? a couple
Oh,
times there.
speaking of the time thing, like if you watch all the Paranormal Activities at the end, like have you guys watched them all?
I've only seen a
no.
couple. Like,
I've only seen like
Uh,
the
like,
first
If
one.
you
Two
watch
or
each
three.
one, they actually connect from that last one. It goes all the way back to the first one.
yeah, see, like I
Nuts.
like that. That's like what the Saw movies did. Like each one
Yeah,
sort of holds up on its own as like a story, but then when you connect, like the guy who did this one is the guy from the first movie, then he
Yeah.
did this, and the guy actually was dead. Like that's when it's like, oh shit, it becomes like a franchise, not just
I
like
just want-
movies.
I want to talk about a scene from Saw. The one that I love the most is one of the newer ones, like 8 or 7 or something like that.
Yep.
Where he's got these two guys, and it's in public, and they're up on like the little stand, like behind a booth. It's like they're on opposite ends of like a table saw, and they got to push the saw into the other person and like destroy the other person, kill them in public. And then people are gathering around thinking it's just like a joke.
Were they in
and
like
then
a
when-
box or something, or
They're in some like a glass box,
Yeah,
like all the
okay.
way around.
that's not that's
And people are like thinking it's a joke, like, oh, this is great, you know, somebody's gonna die. And then one dude ends up overpowering somebody and pushes the fucking saw into the other person, completely obliterates them, and everybody's like, yeah, this is great. And then the person's actually dead, and everybody freaks out. And
That's like literally what
that
would
was a
happen
good
in
scene.
today's society. It would just everyone would be
Oh,
filming
people would
it.
be filming it. Yeah,
But then it's like at the same time, it's like, would that even happen in today's society? I feel like
No,
it would be like an
no,
art
no.
piece. Like,
yeah.
I
like
don't
what would
think
you? All
anybody
right,
would
so that's
think
like,
that it's
what would
real.
you
I
do?
wouldn't get that far.
What would you do? Let's say that's real life. What would you do? You were in like a city center. You walked up and like you're like the first one there. And you're like, what the hell is like a plexiglass box with two guys and a fucking saw, and they're like kind of screaming and stuff. Like, what would you do? Would you like
It'd
film
be
it?
hard. I would probably think it wouldn't be real.
Right?
Honestly, like I would probably.
But is it
Be like
because of
them,
like we've
like,
seen the
it's-
fucking movies that you would just sit there and like
That's what I'm saying. You're like kind of decent. I don't know,
Yeah,
but like,
like,
it's just
it
so
was out of the blue.
crazy. You're just like, this can't be real. Like, how would this ever happen? Like, why would these two people be doing this?
Yeah.
Like, it's just so ridiculous that you would just automatically think that it's not real.
But then like what Brian says, one thing happens and the guy obliterates him and the guy dies. And it's like
Yeah.
what? Then you just
That
feel like
means
shit.
Just like scarred for life.
You're waiting for the dude to like stand up with like, it's a costume.
Yeah.
He takes it
yeah.
off.
And then he doesn't do it, and then you're just like, what?
So
yeah,
you
then you
think
just messed up.
if like because a lot of movies do these, a lot of this like saying that if once this movie comes out, they're like this is based on a true story.
Yeah,
You
none
think
of
that's
that-
more a hype for them
Yes.
to like sell it?
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because I learned a long time ago that I like when I was younger, I swear I thought that was like a legal thing.
Me too.
Like
Me too.
like honest to God, I thought like if
Yeah.
they put that and they were lying, I'm like, you can't do that. Like you just can't do that. Like, and then like, cause I remember seeing movies and I'm like, holy shit. And then like eventually when like I figured out
this
that
happened.
yeah, eventually when I figured out that that wasn't the case, I'm like, oh, what did like ruin my whole like childhood? Cause like
Yeah.
every movie, if they
Yeah,
put
it's
that, it's just
absolutely-
like it instills fear. You're like, oh shit, like this could
It's
be
like,
real.
yeah, it's like paranormal thing based on true stories. Like, yeah, the main character's name is Jane. There was a royal girl named Jane based on true story.
Yeah.
Like it has nothing. Like it's like literally a fraction of the
Yeah,
truth.
it's like, oh, she
they
called
don't
in some
know.
hotline and said she saw a ghost. And the movie's like some crazy thing. It's like, oh yeah,
Yeah,
well she said
and
she
they-
saw a ghost.
This is what happened.
this is our telling of the story.
Yeah, that's definitely just to make it scarier
Yeah, like
as a tactic.
I like honestly, I was the same boat. Like, oh man, like how are they telling us true story of all this happening and it's not like hidden in a file and stuff.
I was
like
in the same boat.
But
Christian
but
was
when
in the
like
boat.
internet started to get big and stuff, and I
Yeah.
started doing research, I'm like, oh, this is bull.
Yeah, I know.
Well, I thought I guess it's interesting to bring this up now. I was actually going to bring this up before, but with the Saw topic, it's interesting. So there's a guy on YouTube who puts out videos of like how to survive the traps in the Saw movies.
Oh yeah,
Really?
And like I stumbled upon the first one, I have no idea, through some recommendation or whatever. Like,
I seen it the other day.
and I watched the first one and I was like, it's like really interesting. And like some of it's kind of like, you know, it's just like they missed that part in the movie or something. He was like exploiting it, but like a lot of it's like really good stuff. He's like, oh yeah, you can do this, or it's like some of it's not like, oh, you just cut through this thing. He's like, okay, if you like break your heel, like in the first one, he was like, you can break your heel so you can slip your foot instead of chopping your foot off, or he's like, you could try sawing like the giant metal pipe that's like over to the side because it was all rusty when they showed it in the thing, where you could probably saw through the rust or something. So it was like really interesting, and he just did one
What
for
do
the second
What do
movie
you do when
too.
he hides a key in your fucking face and you have to like chop your face off?
I don't remember all the stuff, but yeah, he had some of them. He says like, yeah, you're probably fucked, but like for a lot of them, like there's different ways that he like talks about it, and it's actually pretty interesting. But like on that topic, like I know in most movies, like especially like olden days with like the Michael Myers and those ones, like people are just absolutely stupid. Like obviously there's like a ton of memes about people just like
Yeah.
going into a closet or something, or
running
like
upstairs,
running upstairs,
Yeah.
like just
in a
that kind of
house
thing.
so that you
Like
can't get out.
can you
Okay,
think of
so
like
it's-
what were you gonna say?
No, keep going. I got something.
I was gonna say, can
I'll
you think of
after.
like a more a newer movie that you can think of people like just kind of employing like a wrong strategy? Like I feel like that's definitely more of an old thing, but can you think of like a newer horror type movie that like people could have just easily done something different? Because I was trying to think of something more recent, and it seems like it's more like the old slashers that people are just stupid on.
Yeah.
Yeah, like oh my god.
Like,
It's
and then
coming
they
at
just
me.
trip, and then like Michael Myers is like
Well, I
rocket
think
shoes.
that's due. I think that's due to the fact because, like you said, it's like it shifts from that slasher to like a paranormal thing, or it's like you fucked it to the ghost. Like what are you gonna do
Yeah.
with a ghost? There's no right way to fight a ghost. Like no matter what you do,
Yeah.
But, like there's clearly the right things to do. You're trying to run away from someone that's gonna kill you. But I don't
Can't
know
really
anything
think of one.
recently. What?
I can't really. I
go
can't.
back to
Yeah,
all
I
the
don't
ones.
know.
Yeah, recent.
Like even Chucky. Like honestly, you could just rip that thing apart.
I know that was the one that was just like punt him. Like
Like the old ones is like, why don't you just punt him?
unless you
Yeah.
just pick 'em,
He's
dude.
fucking just slice him in half, and he's
But then it's like, oh, he jumps on you and he's like tackles you over. It's like, okay, I know he's like
Yeah.
some
you can't
Like-
overpower a doll.
like demon powered doll, but it's like, did he just get like muscles and stuff? Like he's still just like a 12-ounce
Shoots himself with
doll.
steroids
Uppercut him or
every
something. You
day.
know? Like you gotta go.
Yes.
Bam.
Yeah, some of the physics in those movies is kind of weird too.
Yeah.
But I mean, he's a fucking talking doll, I guess.
Yeah, it's a movie. That's what I mean. Though. But I do like horror movies when they're not like realistic, to them, like but like more realism based and like have more of a story behind it rather than just like
Just nonsense.
kind of
Yeah.
killing for no reason. Like, what's the point of this? Like, there's no like.
All right. So for something that I'll put it in this better term. So think of something, a show, a movie, that you watch that really stuck by you in like a really good horror type thing where you just couldn't sleep at night and would just replay over and over.
So
scenario.
I mean, we've said this one a lot already, but for me, when I was young, it was Saw. And like, I feel like everybody has had this moment in their life, like when you're sleeping, you can't like hang your arms or your feet over the bed or something
Oh yeah.
because you're afraid something is gonna come up and like pull you out or like chop your foot off or something like that.
Yeah.
Mine was always Saw. Like I thought he was always gonna like grab my leg and pull me and like put me in a trap, you know?
See, like, I never like
Jigsaw.
wake up and I'm scared, but like the movies that get me, even now, like if you're just in like a dark hallway or something, you kind of turn the corner quick. Like
You see something.
it's the little demon ghost girl, like the Ring, or like what was the other one, The Grudge, like the look
Yeah, The
of like that girl
Grudge.
with the black hair over the face and like the just grungy like craziness, and then like when she's like crawling like a fucking like scorpion, like all crazy. Like I don't know, even now
Like,
like
glitchy, like like that unnatural.
yeah, that
movement.
unnatural like
That
weird
twitchy.
stuff, like
Exorcist.
so like yeah, like yeah, I feel like the Grudge, like with the original Grudge, when she's coming down the stairs and she's
That's
like
creepy as yeah.
and she's like going down like face first, but she's like crawling super creepy, like that like motion like still gets me now. Like if I'll turn the corner in the
Yeah.
middle, I'll be like shutting stuff off at night and just kind of turn it like
Your
oh
your
fuck, like
coworker.
Like, you see your TV just go on, you're like, dude, fuck that.
You're at work, like you're the first one there in the morning, so you turn the lights on, you go around the corner, and your coworkers just all like demented, and
Just
freaked
fighting.
out, and they're crawling all over the place.
I just shut all the lights off and go home. I just
but like
not go
that's
back.
that's always the one where it's like you were saying, Tim, for like if it's a ghost, it's like what can you do? It's like if it's like
Yeah,
some
punch that
dude,
ghost in
like
the
you can
face.
like try to fight him, you
Beat
can
the
run
shit
away,
out
but
of
it's like what if it's like just some like what is the Grudge? She's like some demon fucking crazy thing. Like what if you
Yeah,
were
it's
like
undead, but not a zombie.
you know what I mean? Like, if you
it's
like
weird.
walked in your house and you're like, oh, just grab a soda, you like going to turn up the stairs, you look up the stairs and just fucking things just crawling down the stairs. Like, what do you do?
just out, never go back.
Right? Like,
Ever.
Just punch.
But do you know what's the craziest part? So we're talking about like movies and stuff, but like there's like people who do that. They're like convinced that their house is like haunted, and they move out of their house and never go back, and they're like convinced like their house is haunted. Like I want to, I am 100% down to go to a house like that because like
Like
I
Amityville.
Oh
don't,
yeah, hell yeah.
I don't believe it. Like I've never experienced it, and like
Yeah.
I want to because like it's to me it's just there's no way that it's real.
Coming soon, boy, with what's
Like
going
there
on in our
needs
house
to be
next
like
year.
like it can like weird shit happening and it's just like like you don't know why it's happening, but like there has to be some other explanation for it.
So, I used to go to my
Oh.
cousin's house a lot, and she lives in a really really old house, and there's been a lot of times or situations where you're coming in the house or you're leaving the house, and the door opens. Now I don't believe in ghosts or anything like that, but I just kind of find it like ironic,
weird.
like
Yeah.
like
Why is that
50% of the time when you would leave or enter the house, the door would just fucking open.
See, well, that's the thing is when it's like consistent like that. That means like obviously there's something that's happening that's making you do it
So
every
like
time.
me being like a realist, like trying to
Yeah.
make like a scenario, like okay, it's really windy out today, like the breeze is coming through the house because the house is so
Just feel like a
goddamn
shitty
old,
door.
Yeah.
Like,
Well, that's what I would
then
say.
Other times I'm just like, okay, why the fuck did this door open at the perfect time where I could walk right through? Like, what the fuck?
So what? So there's like two doors and you open one and the other one opens.
It's
What
like
do
an
you mean? Like, what
airflow
door-
thing,
what door's
obviously.
opening?
Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
like a
that-
vacuum.
I-
Well, no,
I
it's like
see
a
something in
vacuum.
Ghost Hunters.
If you have a double door and you
No,
open
so-
one, you can hear.
so-
It's like it causes a vacuum when the air rushes in.
so it's
But I don't
one
know how those
door,
doors are set up.
and then there's another door at the way end of the like. It's
Is it like a
far
hall?
away.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah,
it's like
so
I said,
it's
it's
just- it's just
airflow.
that-
and
it's a
pushing,
vacuum,
It's a
yeah.
push and pull.
I know that, but it's just like
Yeah, I know.
No, I know.
That's
like,
like
h-
people-
how
That's the
can the
thing.
door like you're going out? How does the door open?
Yeah.
You know, like
Well, so like me personally, I've never had like an unexplained
Oh, there was
thing
one.
happen to me. I know
was one.
I believe that other people have had those things where it's like something happened that like they literally can't explain. Like I
They can't
believe
explain.
that those things happen. I'm like I
Yes.
said, like Tim, like I believe that there's like a reason for it. Like I don't believe in like like it doesn't make sense.
It was. I don't know if we
But-
talked about it on another podcast, but there was one that happened to you.
Me?
Don't know if you remember it. Yeah, it was like one of those 2 a.m.s. We're downstairs
Oh, and the
in
lights.
the house, and yeah,
Right.
dude, and you're like, so Scott,
Yeah,
we're
dude.
sitting
Oh
on the
my
couch.
God.
So
We didn't tell
alright,
this
so
one.
I'm gonna try. So I'm like, say I'm here, Scott's here, and right above Scott's head on the wall, he's against the wall, is a light switch, and the lights were off. I think.
Yeah, they were
right?
off. It was like 2
They
a.m.
were off. I'm looking at Scott, so I can see like the lights, and we're just talking, right? We're just talking like, and all of a sudden, there's the lights just come on, and he's like, he goes, And he's like this, and like because the light switch is right above his head. So we just both sat there and just did nothing for so long. And then I'm like, I don't know, like maybe like my dad got up or something and like turned on like a light. I'm like, I don't know, it doesn't make any sense because I could see the light switch.
It's like
right
it's
above
like
his
one
head.
switch in that one spot.
And like we like walked up and like walked around the downstairs and like what the fuck? So Scott's like, yeah, I'm gonna leave. So he leaves, goes home. I have to go upstairs and go to sleep.
Yeah, it was like 2 in the
that
morning.
was like the one thing.
It was like
Yeah,
2 in the
that was
morning, and like sometimes if the light's like sort of on or whatever, it'll like flick itself. But like just the way it was set up, it just
it had
like,
to go up. Yeah, the light switch had to move up. So it wasn't
Yeah.
like it was on and turned off. It was off and turned on.
Yeah, I was just like,
That was
I like
weird.
duck because I'm like, oh my god, is there like a hand
He's
behind
like-
me that just
yeah,
turned this
he's
shit
like
on?
like
body just
that was
hanging there.
weird.
So
That's the thing. Like it was creepy. It was weird, but it was like who knows? Like it could like electrical. Like,
yeah, it was
some weird
electrical, some fucking
thing,
short in
I
the
don't know,
system or
like-
something. But yeah, it's like
And like you don't have to have an explanation for everything.
I guess
Something
okay.
just
So I
happens, you
forgot
don't
about that.
know,
But like yeah, like personally, like by myself, I've never had like oh my god, like I mean, you always hear stuff, but I've never like
yeah.
saw like a plant throw across the room or like
yeah,
like someone
crazy.
like touched
people
me or
lifting up, getting
something.
pushed. Yeah, that's why I want to go to one of these places, like a sanatorium or a abandoned
So
hospital.
what?
like,
What's
all these
the?
places, like,
I know.
wanna
I
do
know.
that.
Christian's done a couple things. Like, what's like the most intentional, like scariest place you've gone to? I know Christian's been down to the old Dudley Road.
Oh, have you? You went there?
Yeah, it was
I've
to
never
me.
been
No,
there.
I have no. There's no experience there. Like
Yeah.
just a
Probably
really
not.
old road with a bunch of freaking like
But-
mist just
But
going.
there was
to the
another
field.
time
It's-
that the other guys went that you didn't go, and that's a time that it was like Belita and Steve and
yeah,
a couple other
no,
people,
yeah,
and they said
they were
some.
getting touched.
Yeah, they said like someone came up and like touched them really hard in the back, and then they were like all freaked out and they had to like run. But I'm like, I
But
don't
like
know.
at what point is like one of them lying just
Yeah.
to like scare everybody else?
Or is it like,
They're,
or are they
"Mm,"
so in
or
their
your
head?
imagination? Yeah.
Or are they so in
'Cause
their
you
head where it's
see
like
things-
you get like an itch on their back and they're like, oh my god, and like no, it's like an
Yeah.
itch, but you're so heightened
So-
senses because you're like
Yeah.
going crazy.
And like if you
That's the
want to
thing, I
see
wasn't
stuff,
there.
you're gonna see stuff. Like if you're like believing in it so much in that moment,
Any
you're gonna
like a
start seeing
grasshopper
stuff.
will make you freaking jump.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And at night, like if it's at nighttime, like we're not meant to see at night very good, so your eyes will start like just
Yeah.
picking up weird shit.
Yeah.
Like,
Yep.
and if you're thinking in that mindset, anything you see, you're like, oh shit, that's a ghost.
Yeah.
Like,
and it's fun. It's
anything will set
fun,
that
and it's
off.
like
Yeah,
it's
it's
scary
fun. That's, like,
because
I
of
kinda
what
wanna
it
do
is.
it.
But
Yeah.
it's not like it's not a ghost, but you're still
Can't-
scared because you can't see. But it's like
Yeah.
it's like the unknown where it's like you
creepy.
don't want to get hurt from like a
Yeah. Well, that's the other thing too. Like a lot of the times, it's like, well, that could be like a fucking bear. I'm gonna get mauled to death.
yeah, like, oh, I'm not
there's
scared.
like
and
that
then
real like
it's like a coyote.
yeah, like there's that realistic like it could be actually something dangerous.
yeah.
Like,
What were you gonna
like,
say,
I
Brian?
even oh
I wasn't gonna say anything.
Oh, I thought you
Oh,
were gonna
okay.
say something.
like
I'm thinking
I
about
even,
something, but I don't know if I'm allowed to say it.
You're allowed to
whisper
say
it,
anything you
like,
want. Go ahead, Chris.
No.
Christian, go first.
Like
Text me, Brian.
I've been to
I got you.
graveyards and like yeah, like oh yeah,
Yeah,
but I've been
graveyard,
to
yeah.
graveyards, yeah.
But like I
To,
don't know.
uh,
Like, personally, a graveyard's not creepy to me because that's like
Yeah, it's
intentionally
pretty
what it is. It's quiet and it's nothing
That's
there.
what I like. I like enjoy that. Like it's like
Yeah.
quiet. It's peaceful. It's like I like it. Like it's like it's away from like other people on road. So it's just like yeah, it's like quiet. Like it's like foresty. Like I enjoy that. It's like nice and quiet. It's like I don't know. I don't think it's creepy. I think it's nice.
Yeah,
Well,
but
we already
but,
kind of
like,
talked about
seeing,
that
like,
a little bit, Brian.
Like the weirdest thing is seeing like when I was driving by one of the graveyards, like a small graveyard, like around like Pelham around there,
yeah,
and they have these back roads that are really creepy. And one time I see like a deer like in the graveyard and their eyes glowing, and
Oh,
I'm
yeah,
like,
they
what
reflect light like
the?
crazy.
dude, I was ready to see some crazy shit when we drove to Brian's house that first time. Remember, Tim?
Dude, that mist.
It was like
I was like
misty.
gonna drive off the road.
It was like there was like
It took
woods,
us-
and we couldn't see
Dude, it
anything.
was-
There was
Oh,
like
yeah, yeah.
no
It
streetlights.
took
It was
some
like
weird like
we're like,
back roads.
holy shit,
like,
dude, this is creepy street. Like if you broke
It was
down
like
right
fine
now,
on the highway. And then
if
like
you
we
broke
took some
down,
back
Rob,
roads.
it's like I'd come get you.
I know,
No,
it was
but
like
it was
if you
like-
broke down right now, we had to get out of the car. Like I would be sketched.
We just took like it felt like we were just like driving fine, and then we just took like a turn onto a back road, and it was like I couldn't see like 3 feet in front of me.
Yeah, it
And I
was
like,
so
what the
weird.
fuck just
Imagine we
happened?
broke down, and then Brian says it's coming, and then
Never
like
come.
some reason, like out of nowhere, like a truck with big like high beams comes out of nowhere, starts really slowing down.
Whoa.
Yeah.
A guy with a hat comes
Whoa.
by, just starts walking real slow.
The guy with
Like
a hat.
what the fuck? I don't know.
Some
but-
random
Scared of
hat
hats. Christians were
and then
scared of hats.
all of a sudden it's Brian.
We have
Hey,
a lot
guys,
of
how's
those
it going?
random hat guys up here.
Stop you scaring Christian with all those hats in the background. He's scared of hats.
Oop, yeah, Brian is the hat guy.
But
So,
I
but-
don't know.
Yeah,
We'll
I got
fill
a
it
lot
in.
more
We'll-
that aren't up.
But Brian,
Well,
you've never like intentionally put yourself in like a purposely
Spooky,
scary
spooky.
situation to be like scared,
Spook 'em.
get some
I
spookums.
can not off the top of my head that I can remember.
Spook
I
'em.
remember back when I was younger, me and my cousins, we had gone into like a state forest or something. Like I don't know if it was in Drake or something.
Oh.
And it was kind of late. It was like late in the afternoon in like the fall where it was like kind of getting dark. And we were like in a field. I think we were like playing basketball. Then we were like in the woods in another area, and we're like, oh, we're cool. So we're like, oh, let's keep going further because we're like young. It was still kind of light out. It was getting kind of dark. I was like, oh, we'll head back. We started walking out. We walked out like quite a while. We're like sort of following a trail. Then we like saw some like thing over like some like it was like a little rock wall or something. And we kind of went a little further down, and we were like in the woods. And then all of a sudden we just came up to like this kitchen chair. It was like just a kitchen chair like in the middle of the forest. And there was like a little rock path like going to the chair, like little tiny rocks leading up to this kitchen chair, just like in the woods. There was no like fire pit. And like I remember when we saw that, we're all just like looked at each other, was like, what is this? Like nowadays I'd be like, oh, that's random. It's like some hobo or crackhead or something. But like back then, like it seemed like it was some like demonic thing, and we were like, because we were young. I don't know.
Trying
Like,
to summon demons from
The
kitchen
state
chair.
forest. The
I don't
state
know, it was
forest
that was like one of the
have-
creepiest. It wasn't intentional, but that was probably one of the creepiest like things, just because it was like
Yeah.
so random, and we were young. I was like, this is like we need to get out of here.
I don't know. I had a buddy of mine was telling me about. He kind of like same like me. He didn't really believe in anything like that, but he said he went to this one place that was supposed to. It's like a really like known place. It's like a state forest. It's like supposed to be like haunted. And he went there, and he's like the same thing as me. He didn't really, but he said there was some like weird shit going on. Like he's like, dude, he's like, I swear we hear voices and all this other shit. I was like, I don't know. I'll go there because it sounds like
You think
Cool
people
to me,
just
but-
like purposely just like hang out and like scare people that they see or like going
maybe.
there
I
for the
mean,
fun?
or if it's just unintentional, like someone else was just like walking through
Yeah,
the
it's like-
forest talking, and then you just kind of hear like a.
Yeah, it's like
snippet of
it's like the
a
acoustics of
conversation.
that area make the voice
Yeah.
travel or something, and it's like
Yeah.
you know what I mean. Like there has to be like a
That's what I mean. There's so many
physics
explanations.
reason
We'll film an on-site episode of something
somewhere.
in a
Yeah.
haunted place. We'll do a
Was it Halloween?
we'll do a ghost
Well, it's like-
hunter
with the
episode.
boys.
It's like you ever see that show a long time ago on, might have
No.
been MTV or something like that, where they make people go to like a haunted place, and it's like the challenges are purely
Yeah,
like
that was on ABC.
to like stay there.
yeah, it's
ABC
like
Family.
you have to spend
Yeah.
10 minutes
Oh
in this
yeah,
place.
they give them all the rig and stuff with the cameras and
Yeah.
stuff. Yeah,
But like
So-
they have no
so
lights,
speak-
and they have to just sit in the place where like
Yeah.
it literally is like, I mean, haunted places, but there was like
Yeah.
rats coming by. It was like creepy places by
Yeah.
themselves, like not unsafe because it was like people near them, but like even I would have a hard time sitting in some of these places because I
So-
remember
Yeah.
like just people sitting in like this like bottom of this like waste
Yeah.
container thing that was empty and had all these like hallways around it that you can't see down, and like you just sit there
There's
for
a-
20 minutes. It was like fuck that.
So, yeah, there's like a
So
creepy
speak-
place. Oh, go ahead.
So speaking of that, I think you're talking about the same one I'm thinking of.
Probably.
But one of the episodes what I was watching on one of the Halloween nights, they had like everyone set up on certain areas, blindfolded. One was in a basement, one was in another room,
Creepy.
one was like in an attic, and then all of a sudden, when they were about to start the whole thing, all the lights went out. Literally, it just blacked out. And then they were saying, "Oh, all of a sudden now, all the lights production is turned off. Like we can't do anything. Unfortunately, I guess the house didn't want us to explore the area." Like it was one of the episodes I saw, and I was like, "What the fuck is going on?"
Did they come out with that episode though eventually?
It was on live TV, but I still try to find that specific episode that like
Do you
all the
remember what it
lights
was
went out.
called?
Pacific Ocean.
But
I don't know. I know
It was
on
a good
ABC
show.
Family.
Like people watch it to laugh at the people getting scared,
oh,
but like
no, that wasn't it. Never mind.
like I know you
It was
watch
on
it and you
ABC
think
Family.
you think of yourself in the scenarios, and like
what was I gonna say?
I mean anybody
Oh,
sitting in
so-
the dark somewhere is gonna be creeped out.
That's what I say. I just watched a video of a YouTube guy that he was telling like a ghost story to one of his, and he said this place in Canada, it's Tranquil, and I guess it's like a known haunted place, but it was super freaking creepy because it was like the story behind it, like it was a legit story, like it was people went there with like tuberculosis or something, or I forget what it was, and they basically sent all these people there to like die, but like the whole town was like a hospital thing, and every single house had stairs that went to this basement, and the whole town has these underground tunnels running under it to wheel people in
What?
and out. So that It was like this crazy, like creepy thing, and it's like they went there to film something, and like he had this
Yeah, that's
ghost like
creepy.
encounter thing. But like just that alone is like creepy. Like
Yeah,
even if there's nothing there, like going there, like why he said there was just there's like miles of just tunnels there underground,
That's so crazy.
and it's just like creepy as hell. It's like just going down there would be so like just knowing like if anything was down there, not necessarily paranormal, like you're underground in this creepy ass long tunnel, like in the
Well, that's like
dark.
the- like
that
the-
alone is a creepy thing. Like
As like the Paris catacombs, there's like
Yeah,
7 million people buried down there, and like even though it's like illegal to go down there, you can like open like you've seen like Ali Law and those guys have done it. Like these, it's
Yeah.
like certain manhole covers in London where you like open them up,
yeah,
go down, and like you're in it, and like you literally you can get lost down there for forever. Basically, it's
Yeah.
like hundreds of miles of tunnels
crazy.
of like skulls and bones on the walls and stuff, and it's like pitch black. Like that's
Damn.
creepy.
mm-hmm.
Fox Family. That's what the channel was.
I thought you were gonna say the
That's
name of the
helpful.
show.
No, it used to be on ABC Family,
Oh,
but it was
Fox
actually
Family,
called
yeah.
Fox Family.
Yeah, I mean that doesn't help, but
I just like look out my
I was getting
window.
closer.
Someone just standing in the middle of the road, just like
No, Scariest Places on Earth used to be on there. That was one of the.
we're all gonna
shows.
have like our creepiest nights ever after this.
Oh yeah. Well, let's
I know,
get your
right?
mind going. I'm gonna
I
be.
won't be able to sleep.
I know.
I'm just gonna like wake out of bed like, oh, what the fuck was that? And nothing was there.
Start throwing punches.
Yeah, we should.
No, so one of the movies that really got to me, which I didn't mention yet.
Oh yeah, we didn't even
was,
answer all those questions.
Not Paranormal Activity.
Bob the Builder.
The not Sixth Sense. The one with the alien. What's this called, Scott? With
Is that the one you was talking about?
Mila.
Oh,
It was
the fourth kind.
the fourth kind.
Is that
so
the one you were talking about? You thought it was a real thing
That
too?
was one of the ones that pissed me off,
That
where it
fucked
was
them up.
inspired by
Yeah.
true
Yeah.
events, where they had the side by side of like the old footage and then the filmed footage. But even the old footage was fucking filmed. It's like, man, that movie just messed with me when I found out that was fake, because that was like gonna be the creepiest thing I've ever seen. I was gonna tell the world about that movie.
That's another thing too. Like movies, everything's are like newsworthy. Like if something actually happened,
Yeah.
we would know.
I know you would know. You wouldn't see it
And
in a
that's the
fucking
other thing.
Hollywood movie.
Yeah, or like you're watching like one of those ghost hunter shows, and there's like they get a ghost on camera. It's real. It's like that would be on news immediately.
Yeah, it wouldn't be on like
these-
ABC scheduled
you
for
wouldn't
next
have-
Tuesday at
yeah.
8 p.m.
yeah, exactly. Like you would already know about it.
Yeah, that's the
So-
same thing. I don't know. I feel like when you go into the shows, like you kind of know nothing's gonna happen. You're there like for the
Yeah.
adventure of it.
You're just
Yeah,
kind
and
of
it's still like fun. It's still entertainment. Yeah, it's still entertainment. It's still kind of fun.
But yeah, there's
it's
never
not
like,
like- it's-
even
it's
like
not like
even like these other shows
Bashing
like
the show, but
hunting Bigfoot and all those things. It's like again,
Yeah.
if they found Bigfoot or the Loch Ness monster, you would have saw it on the news.
I feel like that
Yeah.
though is like not that. No, like that stuff is like more realistic than like.
But I'm just saying like the
Paranormal
concept of
But
like
no,
those
yeah, I know,
shows,
yeah.
not like
Yeah, you
the
would
character,
know.
but like the shows themselves.
Yeah. Right, yeah.
It's
Yeah,
like
you would
if they
know,
found
before
that,
it
you wouldn't
aired.
know about it on this pre-recorded show. You'd be like, breaking
Yeah.
news: we found Bigfoot. He's in jail or something.
He's in jail.
It's actually just
His
a
name's
really
Larry.
big, hairy man with huge feet.
Yeah, he's just been evading
like-
the law for 35 years. He's like 7 feet tall. He's just like a weird dude.
But
trying to live his life.
that part where the alien comes in and like freezes like everyone that's sleeping and then like pulls you. Remember that part?
Yeah.
And
No.
yeah, that
That
creeped
part
me
got-
out. I kept
The part that got me was when the guy's lifting out of bed. Like he's like being
Yeah.
levitated out of bed and he starts talking ancient Sumerian. He's like saying all this
Oh,
crazy,
yeah.
say sounds like a fucking demon language. And like when they show the old footage, it looks like grainy, like recorded old footage, and he's like fucking lifting off the bed and it's like, holy shit, like how what? Like and like they film like their own versions for like side by side, and it's like, oh damn, like I don't know what's the point of their version, but it's like I don't know. I lost my train of thought because all I can see on Christian's little shelf back there, it looks like a white dildo.
Dude, oh my god, yes. I looked at that earlier. I was gonna say something.
Oh my god.
I was gonna say something.
It's a dildo.
Okay, it's a dildo with a sticker on it. What?
It's air freshener, dude.
Oh my
I
god,
just-
bro!
Oh.
I should have brought it up earlier because I thought the same exact.
I just
thing.
looked over and I
was
just
gonna
was
bring
like,
it up.
what was I saying? I just see this dildo on his shelf.
I was gonna say it earlier. I was like, oh, I'll bring it up after we're done. And then
That's
you
funny.
Imagine this whole time he actually had a real dildo there, and we.
He's
just
like, oh
didn't
shit! He
notice
runs in,
it.
he just slaps it off the thing, and just like, oh, it was nothing.
No, but
He
it's
just turns the
but it's
lights
more-
off.
Oh god.
You can finish your thought, Christian, but I think we'll probably cut it after
No, that was
this.
Yeah,
the,
we're
that was
about
it.
an
That was
hour.
the part that creeped me out. Like I felt like one night I would just
Get
like
sucked off.
have no sense of like feeling it, and then like something taking me away and I can't do anything. I'm like,
Just
oh,
like getting sucked off in your sleep.
oh.
And the can't move is from
Yeah.
the roofie.
You can't do anything. You can't move or anything. It's just happening.
What?
What? He's talking about like getting abducted by aliens. What are you talking
Yeah,
about?
and he's got the dildo waiting for them.
Dude, it's terrifying. Getting sucked off, but you can't do anything about it. That's scary.
Well, I don't know how much we
Still
talked
a little
about.
off topic.
I don't know how much we talked
What we
about
talking
Halloween versus just horror movies,
Oh,
but I think we
it was
talked about all
Halloween
things,
into spookums,
all things
Talked
spookums.
about paranormal,
Yeah.
slashers and killers, and
dildos,
getting lost in the
spookums.
woods.
We talked about the
Yeah.
spookies, so
We're gonna do it. We're gonna. I want to do it at least.
we'll do it.
We'll
We'll do
do a
a
haunted house episode.
we'll do a GoPro
Go-
haunted with the
we're
boys
gonna-
adventure.
Somewhere haunted.
Haunted with the
Bored
boys.
with the haunted.
Haunting with the boys. Haunted.
Wait,
Something like
we're
that.
not haunting people.
We could
we're not
haunt
like-
people.
We're like we'll break into someone's house and like make them think
We'll
we're
get
ghosts.
get ghost costumes and we'll do
bang
the
on
haunting.
people's windows from the outside
Yeah.
and then run.
Throw a brick through the window.
Throw a
It's
giant
a
ice ball
ghost.
through the
They're like,
neighbor's window.
like, what are you doing? We're like, we're haunting.
Spoo.
Spooked you. Spooked you.
Bored with the boys, by the way. This is our story. We're famous.
Check out our YouTube
Yeah.
channel and run away.
Yeah.
It's like my window. Oh god.
Make sure you
All right.
subscribe. It's just like a brick that has like a thing that says subscribe, and they're
That's
like,
our
to
logo
what?
on it.
We just throw it, and they're like, yeah, we got a
Uh,
subscriber.
All right.
Damn, I wanted to find that show and say it,
We're going
but
off.
I can't find it, so I'll
Yeah,
probably
next
find it
time
next time and
we're-
just say it.
Yeah.
That's why we ended it and we started going off again. So
All right.
Yeah,
we'll sign off.
Cool.
Next time on Board with the Boys.
yeah. We'll catch you next time. Happy Halloween, folks.
Thanks for tuning
Happy
in.
Halloweenies.
Subscribe.
Yeah, spookums.